mouth and the meditation of our hearts be always acceptable in your sight, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. Please be seated. Christ the King Sunday, the last Sunday of the church year. Indeed, next Sunday I will wish all of you Happy New Year. And don't act like, what is she doing? Next Sunday is the first Sunday of the new church year. And we will actually change our set of readings from, what year are we in, folks? From year B to year C. In the Episcopal Church, we read, our scripture readings are set in a 3-year cycle, and we finish year B, and next Sunday we begin year C. The focus of that cycle shifts the focus of the gospel. Year A, we concentrate on the Gospel of Mark. Year A, the Gospel of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Year A is Matthew. Year B, we've been focusing on Mark. That's why we've had so many other additions, because Mark is the shortest. And next year, starting next Sunday, we'll be focusing on the Gospel of Luke. Those are the 3 what are called synoptic gospels, which means the good news. Gospel means good news. The good news that's detailing Jesus' life, that's focusing on his time on earth. The 4th gospel, the Gospel of John, which we have from today, is used to fill in on Sundays, to fill it out, and also to meet some specifications as to topic or concentration. And that one is not one of the synoptic gospels. It is more a reflection on the meaning of Jesus' time and the meaning of Jesus' sayings. And so on this last Sunday, instead of Jesus up on the mountain, which we often read on Christ the King Sunday, we have Jesus before Pilate, which puts us where? At the crucifixion, just before the crucifixion. He's been handed over to the Jews. Christ the King Sunday, and so Jesus is being questioned by Pilate to decide whether or not he should be killed. An interesting idea of kingship, isn't it? And an interesting idea for us as we look at our earthly leaders. The model that Jesus sets for earthly leaders is the model of servanthood, the model of bringing good news to the people, the model of seeking others' good before one's own good. And so Pilate asks him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Seemingly, Pilate's a Roman official, and he's had this guy brought before him for treason, for claiming himself as a king. It makes reasonable sense that he'd say, "So are you guilty?" And then Jesus, as Jesus so often does, especially in the Gospel of John, Jesus answers with a question. Are you asking for yourself? Or has somebody else told you? In other words, are you curious about me? Or are you just relying on others and what they say? And of course, Pilate immediately says, "Well, how would I know? I'm not a Jew, so I wouldn't know." And then he says, "What have you done?" And again, Jesus doesn't answer directly. Jesus says, "My kingdom is not from this world." So Pilate immediately, "Oh, so you are a king." And he says, "But as for my kingdom, it's not from here." And then again Jesus answers, you say I am the king. For this I was born, and for this I came into the world, to testify to the truth. Oh, there is such a thing as truth. That's important for us to remember. And it is important to us to remember that as Christians we find the truth in Jesus and in the Gospels. And so if we seek the truth, we seek first of all, what did Jesus say or do? And so what is the truth about economic life? The truth is God created an abundance in this world, enough for everyone. So why do so many suffer from poverty and from lack? Because we as humans have sought to gather for ourselves more than our share, thus depriving others. The truth is God has provided for every human being on this planet. And there is enough for every human being. But it means that some cannot store up large quantities. This Thanksgiving was one of those kind of bittersweet experiences in my family. It was our first Thanksgiving without my brother. It was the 4th anniversary of my nephew's death. And my sister-in-law has metastatic breast cancer and therefore will be dying at some point and is doing medium well, I guess. All of that made the holiday seem somewhat, why are we doing this? But we decided to do it at my brother and sister-in-law's home. Their remaining son and his significant other basically brought everything, provided everything, along with some of the help of the others. His 2 daughters were able to come, so the 2 granddaughters were present. My nephew, who died, his 2 sons, for the first time, the younger son, Jacob, was with us. It cost me a small fortune, but I offered to fly him up here from Florida, and he, for the first time, said yes. And so that was wonderful, to have them all reunited and reconnect and know who they are and who they belong to. Then on Friday night, I had dinner with Ben and Jacob, my nephew Michael, who died, his 2 boys, before Jacob went back to Florida. And as we were talking at dinner, they said, so what's going to happen to the house when Grandma dies? And so we got to talking about material things and the passing them through. And they were at my house, and I often describe my house as it's the furniture and the stuff from everybody who died. Because, oh, that was Grandma's, that was great-grandma's, that was my mother's, that was, yeah, I mean, very little. Good for me, I didn't have to spend much money, and I got way too many things. But it was interesting, while they focused on that, the important thing was the relationships. And that's what Jesus is talking about, that he is the king that brings the truth. He is the king that knits us together into a community. And on this Christ the King Sunday, as we prepare to enter the season that puts us more out of sync with the rest of the world, it is important to remember that our King is this servant king. Our king is this person who has said there is abundance, enough for all. Our king is the king that says justice and peace are the priorities of this world and what we should seek. And so, on this Christ the King Sunday, as we prepare to enter into a season of preparation and reflection called Advent, while the rest of the world starts celebrating Christmas a month early, we focus on who we are and whose we are and how that calls us to operate in the world. For you and I are reflections of our faith in Jesus Christ. You and I are reflections of how we believe Jesus would act in this world. And so, may you have a wonderful Christ the King Sunday. Amen. Let us reaffirm our